मैं समय और आज महाभारत की अमर कथा सुनाने जा रहा हूँ. I was not even told that Mahabharat is a television serial and this is going to be a Sutradhar. My first recording globally was actually for Coca-Cola and they paid 4 times. Shall I tell you a secret? Just
Harish Bhimani is a renowned Indian voiceover artist, writer, and anchor, best known for his iconic role as the voice of Mahabharat, and was India's first male Hindi television newscaster. Today, he shares his journey of innovation and the power of voice in storytelling.
I want to actually make you hear something interesting. I have 3 voices here. All 3 could be AI, all could be human. Can AI fool you or not? First,
I'm curious about how easy it is to detect AI-generated audio clips.
I think when I came into the voice world, मैं दिशाहीन था. It was a kind of jungle which no one knew where it was leading to. Is this really a profession? Industry was a far cry. Then I chose these 5 separate spaces. One was
welcome to The Awakening Code, a podcast where I explore the intersection of technology, creativity, AI, and spirituality. And today is very exciting because the guest who I have here kind of has intersections across all these worlds. His voice is recognized probably by billions of people. There was a time when India used to stop listening to his story, his narration of time itself. So without further ado, I'm really happy to invite and have the voice of time, Samay himself, and a very, very dear friend, Harish Bhimani.
hello, namaskar.
Harishji, so happy to have you here. Our association goes back, 25 odd years? I mean, it's been what?
More like 30.
More like 30 years. And I still remember you were always ahead of your time with technology. You started a tech company very early in your days. So tell me about your early days of tech and your whole, you being the voice and your early days in radio. How is all of this getting connected?
First of all, allow me to break into Hindi.
Of course.
अनुष्ठान की तरह मैं हर काम करता हूँ. मेरा स्वभाव है पहले प्रणाम करता हूँ. Why this Anushthan? This word Anushthan, which is what? A pious undertaking. I consider all my work as a pious undertaking. When I do that, I'm not a complete believer. I'm an agnostic. Even then, I tend to take all the enterprises, all the work, all the assignments that I do more seriously with tremendous respect. You talked about technology. Well, technology, I've imbibed so much technology. I'm a chemical engineer, followed by MMS, Master of Management Studies from the Bajaj Institute, which according to me is a science of business. So applying both technology and my management studies was a sort of given, was imperative to whatever I was doing. I came into a world, how can you call it world or universe? It was a kind of jungle, forest, dirt track, which no one of us, a total of 17 voiceover artists in Mumbai, didn't know where it was leading to. Will it lead to anything? Is this really a profession? Industry was a far cry. But I did apply whatever was at the back of my mind or what was part of my makeup. When I came into the voice world, there's a nice word in Hindi, मैं दिशाहीन था. I knew that my voice was being used, but I soon realized that I soon asked myself, what are my main resources to survive and to succeed in this industry? It was voice and words. So I actually identified what spaces will be using these two as major resources, and I started working in those directions. Now that, according to me, is really using your management mind. You're applying those perspective management techniques to your actual work. I noticed that all my colleagues, whether they were my generation or a little senior, were working, but not only single-mindedly, but on a single track. If they were doing voice recordings, they were doing voice recordings. They wouldn't look left or right. Whereas I chose these 5 separate spaces. One was television anchoring, which required both voice, words, personality, etc. I was fortunately chosen out of 1,600 candidates as the first Hindi television newscaster, male Hindi television newscaster. Along with that was commercials recordings, which was coming into its own slowly. The television was yet not commercial. There was only radio and films. Then there was anchoring. Anchoring required definitely all these 3. So that's how I applied. Later, I remember it was you. I don't know if you remember. एक तंज किया था. You said, you're supposed to be the greatest voice of India. But your words were, you can't scale further. So how do you expand? अरे आज आवाज है, कल नहीं है, आज डिमांड में है, कल नहीं है, which is very true. I've always been ready that next week my voice might not be in demand. So that set me thinking. You don't know that how do I go beyond Mumbai or beyond India? How do I expand my reach? And number 2, why only my voice? Why not aggregate voices and go for a larger market? One other colleague had mistakenly suggested that there's somebody called Laila in New York, and she's doing some, Hindi, Urdu, some such work. I said, who is this? Why should New York or why should any other country need Indian language voices? So I was early with the internet, as far as my profession is concerned. So I started scouring the net and realized that there was a company called voice123.com. And I remember my first recording globally was actually for Coca-Cola.
Oh.
Coke, it was some communication product sponsored by Coca-Cola, Coke Talk or some such thing. It wasn't exactly talk that, it must be TED coming with Coke. Recording was to be done from my studio, and they would direct from Atlanta, Georgia. They said, what time would you like to do? They wanted at their convenience, 9:30 in the morning, their morning. So ours will be, about 8 o'clock at night. I said, I generally don't record after 7 o'clock. Morning is the freshest voice. So ideally, 11 o'clock in the morning here, which is like 12:30 at night there. They agreed. I was really surprised. This doesn't happen in India. At least it didn't happen then. They were very happy with the recording. And they actually asked me that, Harish, we want... And I gave a disclaimer before starting the recording that I'm not going to fake any American accent or any accent. I think I should be speaking the way I am. And they said that that's what we like. Don't worry. We need global accent anyway. They said that this is a wonderful experience, very good. Why did you charge so little? And I actually had. I said it's, even in my country, I would charge about 3 times. But because I'm entering the global arena. So these people actually went to the extent of sending me a couple of lines and saying that you have to add this and you can charge separately. Oh, don't worry, we'll add. And they paid 4 times. They paid $250, I remember. That really set me thinking. And I started checking other countries. What was the demand, if there was any?
So one thing before we go to your global expansion, I want to just go a little back to your early days. That is a time when being an engineer or getting a government job or working for a larger company, your qualification, I'm sure that would have been one clear career path for you.
Oh, it absolutely was.
And out of that, trying to be a voiceover artist where they were just only 17, what gave you the confidence to pursue that as a clear career path during a time when, India, this thing was so early?
To be absolutely honest, I was not confident. I told myself that I have landed in a jungle and I don't even have a compass. Dishaheen. That's right. The fact of the matter is that where my studies were concerned, academics, I was quite misguided. I'm not blaming anyone, but yes, to an extent, yes. One of the persons who misdirected me was me. Because in those days, now you're talking about early and mid-60s, okay? In those days, for a boy, how did boys choose their careers? If you're a good student, you become an engineer or a doctor. If you're a mediocre student, you go to do your BCom. And if you're absolutely no good, just for the marriage market, you go and do some BA. It didn't matter whether it was sociology or economics or political science. Graduate. So, and I was, I'm afraid, a rather good student. In fact, I'd hit distinction, which the Bhimani clan had not seen on. So, obviously, I had to take science. So I went to the best college, Elphinstone College. Now, in those first 2 years, for first year and intermediate, after that, you had to decide whether you want to take medicine or engineering, or just want to probably become a lecturer and do your BSc and then MSc, etc. Medicine was not an option for me, so I went for engineering. I even remember I didn't get admission in IIT.
You tried IIT?
Oh, yes, I did. But it was a wrong day. I was disturbed about something very personal. And I had never, earlier, before that, I had never faced option as answers. We always had questions and you had to answer. This is the first time.
So choices were not...
Which should have been much easier, in fact.
It
But
kind of also reflects the India of that time, right? You never had choices. You only had one answer to do everything.
very true. That's very true. A very good observation. Yes. So I went to Pune. You had to, first year was common, but common between electrical, mechanical, and civil engineering. I was there for only 5 days, out of which 2 days I went to the Film Institute. So even then, even when I left school, I knew that my true inclinations were towards the audiovisual arts. I loved the radio. I was passionate, so passionate that radio was banned for me. I was very, very interested in films. So films were banned unless the whole family was going, which is not a good thing, about which I still blame the thinking of the family. But I can also see their side. कि एक ही बच्चा है जो ठीक से पढ़ रहा है, मतलब he's always doing well in most subjects, whether it is mathematics or English, Hindi, or it's amazing. So they wanted more control over me. So even they suggested, yes, correct, engineering. I was, for some reason, fascinated by chemical engineering. I loved chemistry, all chemistry, physical, organic, inorganic, etc. And I was called for, I had a call from a chemical engineering college. There weren't many. So I went there. Once I went there, I realized that this is not where I belong. So obviously, where do I belong? I asked myself. I couldn't answer. Am I a singer? No. Am I a composer? Am I a painter? Have I written so much? Maybe I've done some eminently forgettable writing, but there wasn't a niche where I fitted. There wasn't a slot. So I continued studying. Unfortunately, in our country, particularly in those days, you didn't collect credits of the subjects you studied and then move.
That's even today. Nothing has changed, right, in our education system.
Yes, there are only many, many, many more choices. In the US, it is, even then it was very different, and it would have been very different. So I finished my engineering. Now, I was going to go into chemicals manufacturing. I actually made, not lab, pilot plant scale, 2 chemicals, pentachlorophenol and 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. They were put into the market. They were sent to through someone, and they said, good product. How much can you supply? I said, supply ki kahan baat hai? I'm still thinking about how to do it. That's when somebody took me to a new institute, because a sort of newfangled course had started, business management.
So the other thing which is very unique about you is that I think that in your case, while I'm sure there were people with equally good voice or even better voice, but you had the unique ability of working closely with the stalwarts in the industry and adding a lot of value to their craft. And I want to talk specifically about 3 people and get your journey with them. One is the late B.R. Chopra. And I know you spent a lot of time with them and, during the entire ideation and creation of Mahabharat. The second being the late Lata Mangeshkar, who again is an icon when it comes to India. And you had a lot of deeper engagement with her at various levels. And the third, recently, Zakir Hussain passed away, and I know you had another great association with all these 3 maestros in a way. So tell me about your interactions with these 3 people and how these engagements and interactions helped you better yourself.
First of all, I've been very fortunate that there was a slot waiting for me in all these and some more such stalwarts. But as you asked me earlier about normally a chemical engineer MBA would seek a top job, which I did get. I was waiting for the best job to come. It came. In fact, our year, they started campus interviews. We'd never heard of campus interviews. You had to get your degree and then struggle for an interview and probably get a job. Of course, with that MBA, it was much easier. But I had 3 appointment letters in my left pocket, but was still waiting. I was getting greedy. And the world's second largest chemicals manufacturing company came and I was selected. Once I went in there, I realized that this is a grind. This is a beautiful grind. क्या कहेंगे? सोने का पिंजरा है.
You were part of the rat race.
It wasn't even the rat race. You were really up there, and you were going to end up soon as a CEO of this or some other chemicals manufacturing company in India. But is that what I wanted? And I asked myself, then what do you want? I couldn't answer. Again, the same thing as during my academic life. So I started moonlighting. Some recording here, some anchoring there. And it is not well looked upon in these companies, American companies. So once I was caught. Somebody called me, a chief accountant, and I speak a little bit of Bengali. So he said, oh, wow, I didn't know we have a celebrity amongst us. So I said, ki kotha bolchen? Bujhte parlam na. So I said, what do you mean? I have a brochure in front of me. Today is a music program. And at the end it says, compare Harish Bhimani. That's you. So I said, I've had it now. This is no way to leave. But it made me think. He was, of course, exaggerating. I was no celebrity. But the name was up there on the marquee. So that set me thinking. And I took the big step. कि भाई काम अच्छा है, दाम आज नहीं तो कल मिल ही जाएगा, लेकिन इसमें नाम भी है. So I took the plunge. Now, when that happened, as you said, that there was place for only 3 busy professionals. There were already 4, and I was the 5th one. So, as I like to say that, उन दिनों छीना झपटी थी, आज chat GPT. But as I said in the beginning, that Anushthan की तरह मैं हर काम करता हूँ. It not only helps me work, it helps me get involved with my work. It's like puja to me. It's like ibadat to me. And the work might, an assignment, my profession is assignment based. So assignment gets over. But if you have just given voice to a set of words, then that's only half work done. Whereas if I have imbibed myself with what I'm doing, then it remains with me. It's instead of a simple recording, it's like catharsis. And I think this is what people probably appreciate. One of my senior colleagues used to say that, do you know why you're so good and I'm so good? He was the best. And he used to say that, yes, I'm the best. Nothing wrong. He said, because we are being paid for our education, that the education that people hear rather than a good voice, which is very true. Now, these stalwarts you were talking about, fortunately for me throughout my career, I have been sought out rather than approaching them. Nothing wrong in approaching them. So when somebody called me from Lataji's side, Lata Mangeshkar's sort of team, I was quite surprised because there was one knew that there was a lineup of stalwarts, bade tajurbe-kar, big anchoring name, bigger names. Why am I being called? And I learned it in the very first meeting with her. You slightly exaggerated. My probable contribution has been maintaining the standards, if not raising the bar. And this Lata Mangeshkar herself put in a paragraph in a book called On Stage with Lata. It's only about her stage shows, her concerts, that I was always looking to maintain the standards of my entertainment shows. And our anchor, my constant companion as an anchor, has helped me do that. And I'm thankful to him. Now, this meant more than Oscar to me. So I think I was simply being totally myself, looking into myself. There is a word called meditation. I consider my work, I consider myself meditating when I'm working. I have certain criteria to pick assignments that I should like it. It has to be something that will educate me, if not elevate me. I should like the person I'm working with. Other things are secondary. So that, I think, has stayed in good stead with me. Lata Mangeshkar was a person who considered anchoring very important. And I was quite sure that the concert is the main show. I'm not the main show. I have to only carry it forward in the best possible manner. That's what worked. In the very first meeting, I told her that, Lata ji, मुझे नहीं लगता कि आपके कॉन्सर्ट में शेरो शायरी होनी चाहिए. उन दिनों बहुत होती थी. Anchors used to, even today. I thought it would be very distracting from the main show. And I said, मुझे नहीं लगता कि चुटकुले होने चाहिए. They even actually cut jokes. And if I'm taking 45 seconds or 60 seconds to cut a joke, and out of 3,000 people, 1,000 know that, and see how much time I'm wasting. And I said, apart from that, I don't think before you start singing, the audience should know what you're going to sing. The coordinates, that this is the music director, this is the film, and this is the song. Because I knew that doing that, the anchor, the compere, would get applause, but not the singer. Because the audience already knows what's coming. So I said, कि देखिए मैं ये शर्तों के तौर पे नहीं कह रहा हूँ. This was my first meeting with her for anchoring. I didn't know that it was a test. That entire assignment was a test from my anchoring. And she smartly said that, अच्छा हुआ आपने ये बता दिया, क्योंकि मैं यही चीजें शर्तों के तौर पे कहने वाली थी. So I realized that we are on the same page. I think that's what worked. And doing that, I also kept jotting for a probable book. I didn't know why I was jotting. I had extracted permission from her that I should be allowed to be in your rehearsals. She did so many rehearsals, at an average 2 to 3 per concert. And I have done 143 events for her around the world, 21 countries and 52 cities. So I would be sitting there and वो बड़ी बातूनी थी. She loved to talk. She has to find the right person to talk. And full of fun, humor. And she sort of once more lived the days of her illustrious career. Like I would ask that, why don't you sing this song? This is an extraordinary song. And she would say that, no, not at all. It reminds me of what happened during the recording. So this is how her biography was written. Of course, there was a lot of research done. Where the Mahabharat is concerned, I was sort of pre-chosen. How I was chosen, I came to know much, much later when Chopra Sahab once told me at a party, Mahabharat party. He thought that I was a little concerned about not being seen. I was only heard. So he came to me with, it was like a fatherly figure. He said, आपको ऐसा कभी नहीं सोचना चाहिए कि बाकी सब पर्दे पर दिखते हैं, आप दिखते नहीं हैं. ऐसा नहीं है. आपका सबसे लंबा रोल है. मैंने कहा जी हाँ. Because some people had commented that, his voice is being used, his looks is not being used. I
think your look was just the wheel rotating. Samay ka chakkar घूमता जा रहा है.
But they were so meticulous about everything that went into this project, that even after the voice was chosen that we are going to use this voice, what is going to be the pitch, pace and tone of Samay? And believe me, even they didn't know.
And that's a very unique part, and I would love to get that when Harishji talks, when Samay talks, and when you are doing any other thing, what is it that made the voice of Samay so unique?
First of all, I must admit that I did not agree with the three stalwarts' final decision. They, in the first session was a waste. They asked me for an audition. Ke zara aa jao. I was given a script. I was not even told that Mahabharat is a television serial and this is going to be a Sutradhar. So I said, मैं समय हूँ और आज महाभारत की अमर कथा सुनाने जा रहा हूँ. ये महाभारत केवल भरतवंश की कोई सीधी सादी युद्ध कथा नहीं है. These are the same words. So I heard someone approaching. लखनवी मोजरी की आवाज होती है ना, चुर चुर, और आवाज सुनी मैंने. उन्होंने किसी ने कहा कि बेटा ये तो डॉक्यूमेंट्री जैसा लग रहा है. तो मैंने कहा सर तो नहीं है डॉक्यूमेंट्री, मुझे क्या.
अब्दुल रजा, राइट?
नहीं, हाँ, राही मासूम रजा. तो कहा नहीं बेटे जरा इत्मीनान से पढ़िए. तो मैंने इत्मीनान से पढ़ा. But I was still not told what it was. In those days, in fact, even today, when they call us, they don't tell us. Because this is lost, privacy is lost. That such and such project is taking place. Then I was called for another session. So I said, देखो बेटे, आवाज बदल सकते हो, अच्छा बोलते हो, सब कुछ अच्छा है. मैंने कहा नहीं बदलूंगा. If I change voice, it'll sound not only funny, ridiculous. I can do 3-4 voices. अच्छा ठीक है, आवाज तो तुम्हारी रहेगी. समय की तरह बोलो. बहुत सोचने के बाद मैंने कहा सर समय कैसे बोलता है. तो ये चलता रहा. And while driving back, I said that I blew it. Something big was by that time they told me that ये महाभारत सीरियल हो रहा है और हर एपिसोड में पहले रिकैप होता है. मैंने कहा मैंने काफ़ी किए हैं. द थर्ड टाइम फाइनली they said, नहीं बेटे समय. मैंने कहा आई गॉट इट, यू वांट गॉड्स वॉइस. नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं, गॉड्स वॉइस नहीं है. तो मैंने कहा अच्छा आकाशवाणी. तो पंडित नरेंद्र शर्मा जी ने कहा कि नहीं बेटे आकाशवाणी तो कंस के समय होगी कि तुम्हारा 8वां भांजा तुम्हारा वध करेगा. मैंने कहा तो नहीं, ऐसा है कि जो आमतौर पे नहीं सुना गया ना वो. मैंने कहा अच्छा. सो आई गिव देम अ थियरी बिकॉज आई डिडंट नो व्हाट टू डू फ्रैंकली. आई सेड सर एक सेंटेंस लें, आप बोले मैं बोलूं, एक ही तरह से बोल रहे हैं फिर भी वो 3 अलग लगते हैं क्योंकि बोलने की रिदम अलग है. तो आप चाहते हैं कि आवाज़ मेरी हो और रिदम ऐसी हो जो आम इंसान की नहीं हो, क्योंकि ये तो समय है. तो मुझे डॉक्टर राई मासूम रजा ने कहा बेटे हाथ कंगन को आरसी क्या, पढ़े लिखे को फारसी क्या, बताओ. ऐसे ये तो मैं फंस गया. तो आई जस्ट ट्राइड आउट. आई टोल्ड माई सेल्फ कि कुछ इस तरह से बोलो जो कभी ना सुना है, ना कभी सुनोगे, ना कभी बोला है, ना कभी बोलोगे. दिस इज नॉट वर्किंग आउट फ्रैंकली. इट्स समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा मैं क्या करूँ. तो मैंने उस तरह से ऐसी रिदम ली कि जो मैंने कभी नहीं सुनी थी. मैं समय हूँ, ऐसे कौन बोलता है. और आज महाभारत की अमर कथा सुनाने जा रहा हूँ. ये महाभारत केवल भरत वंश की कोई सीधी सादी युद्ध कथा नहीं है. एंड आई एम थिंकिंग टू माई सेल्फ दैट ऑफ कोर्स दिस इज नॉट द वे. नाउ आफ्टर दिस वॉट एवर दे से आई विल डू. बट दे सेड इसी को पकड़ के रखो. यही है. मैंने कहा सर कौन सुनेगा, ये तो बहुत, आपने तो कहा कि विजुअल भी कुछ नहीं होने वाला है, विजुअल में ब्रह्मांड दिखेगा. तो ये तो यू नो ऑन टेलीविजन वी आर क्रिएटिंग रेडियो. यही सही है. और उनसे रिकॉर्ड इससे कहा इसको लॉक कर दो. You will notice I was not convinced. So when they called me for the 4th time, I was called for the 4th time, which is after about a month and a half, for broadcast copy. Samay had to record. Samay was the last thing to be recorded and then slapped onto the video, and broadcast copy was made and sent. So I was called. There was nobody. The triumvirate wasn't there. So I said that वो तो सही नहीं था. I was not convinced. So in that Samay, I had more of myself. You will notice in the first episode and the second episode, there is a huge difference. Not that I don't like the first episode. It was really good. But after that, after the broadcast, I got some firing. Dr. Raza said that when I went for the second episode, कहा देखो बेटे जो तय हुआ था वो करो. ऐसा कैसे कर दिया आपने, आप करेंगे या हम आए उधर बताने. मैंने कहा नहीं सर मैं करता हूँ. सो मैंने एक्चुअली वो बेमन से किया और फिर आई सॉर्ट ऑफ गॉट इनटू इट. सो कंट्रीब्यूशन सच कहूँ तो उनका ज्यादा था. आई ओनली रेंडर्ड इट.
But isn't that the thing that you need, even though your voice is so amazing, but you needed the guidance of a Dr. Raza or B.R. Chopra to get to that level?
Because they knew the entire project. It had to stand out. That's all. So like, tell you a secret. Just before this मैं समय हूँ, or the Samay as the Sutradar was not a new idea. It was used just before this serial. There was a serial called Bahadur Shah Zafar, The Last Mughal. That was produced by BR TV. And they had used this a similar Sutradar.
They also had Bharat Ek Khoj also. I don't know.
No, Bharat Ek Khoj was Shyam Benegal.
Yeah, Shyam Benegal, yeah.
and it came, I think, a little early.
That also had some good narration.
No.
No?
No. It was very different. The entire format was different. In Bahadur Shah Zafar, the story was told by Lal Qila. मैं लाल किला हूँ. And it was spoken by somebody else. But they were not happy. For some reason, it didn't stand out. I mean, it was analyzed and told me why. That it sounded like a commercial. The flexibility, loach of certain voices is narrow. It might be an excellent voice. For example, some of our singers, Hemant Kumar, Mukesh ji, उनकी एक्सप्रेशन की रेंज एक उतनी ही थी, जबकि कईयों की ज़्यादा थी. तो and even before that, as early as 1956-62, Mughal-e Azam starts with मैं हिंदुस्तान हूँ. But they stuck to the idea. The idea was Rahi Saab's. When the proposal was taken to Delhi, in fact, it was suggested by Delhi, by the government, that Ramayana and Mahabharat should be done. He said, Chopra Saab said that हमारी दो शर्तें हैं. एक तो ये कि the story will be narrated by Samay. तो कहा ये क्या है? What do you mean Samay? और दूसरी ये कि डायलॉग लिखेंगे राही साहब, राही मासूम रजा. तो दोनों काउंट पे उन्होंने कहा ये तो नहीं हो सकता. And then finally said that okay, do one episode and we'll see. And that's how it took off. So yes, Samay apparently was an important part. So Chopra Saab told me, का मेरे इतने करियर में मैंने कभी ये नहीं देखा कि स्पोकन वॉइस, सिंगिंग वॉइस तो हमने घुटने टेक दिए हैं. क्या रफ़ी साहब हैं, क्या लता जी हैं, क्या आशा जी हैं, एक से एक बढ़ के सिंगर हैं, मगर स्पोकन वॉइस में इतना हुआ हो ये नहीं. बिकॉज अपेरेंटली टी सीरीज बॉट राइट्स फॉर ऑडियो ट्रैक.
And what about Zakir Hussain Saab?
Zakir Hussain Saab, I was plain lucky. मैंने कोई 7-8 कॉन्सर्ट्स किए होंगे. He was always quite concerned about how he was introduced. He wouldn't ever show it. Even on stage, when his turn came, he would be seen and heard tuning his tabla. मगर कान उनके वहाँ होते थे. तो मुझे याद है एक बार, this was Guruma Annapurna Devi ji's tribute concert at Brabant Stadium. बड़े बड़े दिग्गज कलाकार थे उसमें. तो मैंने उनको इंट्रोड्यूस किया उसमें. अनफॉर्चुनेटली आई एम नॉट कैरिंग इट. मैंने कहा कि ये ज़माना बायोपिक्स का है, जो कि था, मैं 5 साल पहले की बात कर रहा हूँ, 4-5 साल. सोचिए कि अगर किसी साज की बायोग्राफी लिखी जाती, तबले की बायोग्राफी लिखी जाती, तो उसमें क्या लिखा जाता कि हम जुड़वा हैं लेकिन एक से नहीं दिखते, कि दूसरे हम, कोई महफिल हमारे बिना पूरी नहीं होती, लेकिन दूसरे साजों को बहुत सहला के बजाया जाता है, हमें बड़ी मार पड़ती है, दोनों हाथों से मार पड़ती है, और जितनी मार पड़ती है लोग तालियां उतनी और बजाते हैं. लेकिन जब उस्ताद जाकिर साहब के हाथ पड़ते हैं, तब हम एक दूसरे से कहते हैं कि हाथ तो ऊपर वाले ने सबको दिए हैं, इनकी तो हथेलियों और उंगलियों के पोर पोर से कला बरसती है. और जब तबला विशारद बड़े मूड में होते हैं तो उनका तबला बोलता है, गाता है, और तब हम भीगी आंखों से हम नमन करते हैं उनको और उनके पिताजी उस्ताद अल्लाह रखा साहब को। तो मैं तो अपना इंट्रोडक्शन दे के चला गया। उन्होंने बहुत झुक के नमन किया। आफ्टर द कॉन्सर्ट ही केम एंड ही सेड कि हरीश जी, तारीफ तो हमने बहुत सुनी है, लेकिन आज आपने सच्ची बात कही है। मैंने कहा मतलब नहीं, एक तो तरीका हमको बहुत बहुत पसंद आया सर, थैंक यू, लेकिन आपने सच्ची बात ये कही, आपने अब्बा जी के बारे में कहा जिनकी वजह से मैं हूं। तो उनके, जैसे मैंने कहा, 7-8 कॉन्सर्ट किए थे। इन बड़े लोगों के साथ काम करते हुए मैं अपने आप को चैलेंज दिया करता हूं कि कैसे मैं उन्हें हर बार अलग तरीके से इंट्रोड्यूस करूं कि जिसमें एग्जैजरेशन ना हो। हालांकि ये ऐसे दिग्गज आर्टिस्ट हैं कि एग्जैजरेशन इनके सामने घुटने टेकते। नो वर्ड इज टू मच फॉर देम। तो सिर्फ तारीफ न करते हुए, सच कहते हुए उनकी तारीफ में आप क्या कह सकते हैं, यही बात होती थी लता जी के लिए, बहुत ही मुश्किल होती थी। एक और व्यक्ति जिनका मैं बड़ा आदर करता था, आई रियली रिस्पेक्टेड हिम फॉर हिज वर्क, was Aditya Vikram Birla. When CNN started, I had the opportunity of once interviewing him and once taking bites. And I'd also met him 3-4 other times because his Sangeet Kala Kendra, I think, had done 3 concerts, Lata Mangeshkar concerts, in Calcutta, also in Mumbai. That's when I also had the great opportunity of meeting Kumar Mangalam Birla. He was fresh back from London, a business school.
As somebody who has built your entire legacy, your career on voice, today we are at a very interesting intersection where technology is literally out to disrupt this entire world of voice and video.
In one sentence, I call it an approaching black hole.
It is an approaching black hole, but the question remains that to what extent can AI do what you have been able to do or what other artists are able to do? Could AI actually recreate? Actually, it could easily recreate, but can AI reimagine if B.R. Chopra had to tell an AI model, or if Raza Saab had to tell an AI model, this is how I want you to sound? Would that AI model be able to get there?
I'm afraid eventually it will. I have been I've been interacting.
So before we go there, actually, I want to show you something interesting, actually make you hear something interesting for people out there. I have 3 voices here, and all 3 could be AI, all could be human. So I'm going to play it. And somebody who has been in the voice world forever, I mean, a normal human may or may not recognize it, but I want to see to what extent you are able to get it. Can AI fool you or not fool you? So let me first start by playing 3 sample sounds. And I'm going to play it on here so that you can tell me which one is AI out of the 3. Okay? First,
I'm curious about how easy it is to detect AI-generated audio clips, and so I decided to experiment with my own voice.
That's clip number 1.
I'm curious about how easy it is to detect AI-generated audio clips, and so I decided to experiment with my own voice.
And now the third one.
I'm curious about how easy it is to detect AI-generated audio clips, and so I decided to experiment with my own voice.
I think the second one is AI.
So let me do again.
I'm curious about how easy it is to detect AI-generated audio clips, and so I decided to experiment with my own voice.
Actually, sorry, you have to detect what is human, not AI.
I'm curious about how easy it is to detect AI-generated audio clips, and so
You have
I
to
decided
detect what
to
is human,
experiment with my own voice.
not what is AI.
I'm curious about how easy it is to detect AI-generated audio clips, and so I decided to experiment with my own voice.
I'll
I
tell
think probably the third, which is not well recorded. It's the friendship with microphone is not too good. Mic placing is not too good. But probably the third one
is human.
is human.
Let's check it out. You guessed it right. Absolutely. The third one is human. And while you were able to guess this, when I tried to do this, very frankly, I got it wrong. I was fooled by this AI model. And I'm sure a lot of people out here are today listening to a lot of voices, whether it is in an ad, in a podcast, in a
You see,
broadcast.
it's the intonations which are not even controlled by the person who's speaking. He's just communicating. He's not speaking. If he's speaking, he's a voiceover artist.
So you have to emote. You are saying emotion is very important in this.
Yes, but not really emote. I put it in one simple sentence. Don't just speak, tell. It's as simple as that. Like I'm talking to you now. A second ago, I didn't know what the words would be. So I'm telling you something. I'm not speaking, merely speaking. Of course, it's the process of speaking, but not merely speaking, it's telling. So that's what separates it from machine speaking. But I think eventually it will get there. Because you'll know more, you're the tech guru, that AI, first of all, scours huge data. That data has to be of different emotions. I'm talking about voice. And also words. What words mean and what punctuations mean. With a punctuation, you can change rendition of an AI, of a cloned voice. So, with more and more power to absorb intonations of both voices and words, voice and words, it will eventually be able to do it.
So then what happens to the art of voiceover? Why would people want to take up voiceover as a profession?
You're very right. This is the wrong time to enter. The new ones, newcomers, I tell them that this is a true disclaimer. This is not the right time to enter. You know what are prompts? Not the prompts described by prompt engineering, but IVRs, interactive voice response, like the person you have called is not available right now, please call later, etc. 75% of that work has gone.
You were actually the voice of, I think, Vodafone, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, when it started. What was it called?
Every time I used to call Vodafone, I was like, Harishji bol rahe hain.
इसके बारे में तो बड़ा जोक हुआ था. एक बार मैं कच्छ से लौट रहा था from Mundra to Bhuj, and I'm from Kutch. So I was looking at the expanse around. I was in a taxi, and I started calling all Kutchi friends or anyone who knew Kutchi, because I was hearing Kutchi language around. And every time I called, now this is about 15 years ago, the signals were not so good. So my voice would say that आप जिसको phone कर रहे हैं, it's उपलब्ध नहीं है वगैरह वगैरह. So the taxi driver was wondering, and I told him, मैंने कहा देखिए ना क्या है. कच्छ में ही मैंने उससे कहा, मैंने कहा देखिए ये क्या है. मैं फ़ोन कर रहा हूँ किसी को, मेरी आवाज़ मुझे कह रही है कि नहीं है भाई. तो वो बेचारा क्या कहता है, अपने हाथों से किया है, अब भुगतो. इसका सीधा जवाब ये है कि बहुत ज़्यादा अफेक्ट करता जाएगा दिन पर दिन. AI, which is artificial intelligence, will become another AI, which is actual intelligence. और यहाँ तक कि even in dubbing, you see, voice industry में दो धड़े हैं. One is voiceovers and one is dubbing. In dubbing, you are really lending your voice to some other person, some other visual. But it is AI has gone to such an extent that you feed a script along with its synchronized visual. Let's say a dialogue, a man and a woman talking, their script. And you give command that I want this dubbed in Hindi. So it will not only translate, but translate according to lip sync and also record it and give you options. Which voice, 4 male voices, 4 female voices, which one do you want? So it's quite dangerous. The only thing that it is still not able to do is bring that X factor, that individual X factor of an artist. So as long as an artist has that, he has less to worry. I won't say not to worry at all.
So I tried using Samay's voice on an AI model. I got some audio out of YouTube and I trained a model. It's okay. It's not that good, but it's a good way. So let's just try and talk to Samay in our AI model. Hello Samay, क्या हाल है? Good morning.
Sure, here is the statement in modern Hindi. आज के दिन में सबसे बड़ा चेंज ये है कि मनुष्य ने अपनी सहारा के लिए मशीन से हेल्प लेना.
अच्छा आप हिंदी अच्छा नहीं बोल सकते. आप इंग्लिश में बोलो. Let's talk in English. Let's see. I have not trained it in Hindi as well. So English, let's see if you still think it's getting the thing. So please tell us about time in the context of Mahabharat.
Sure, I can talk about time in the context of the Mahabharata in English. Time, or kala as it is referred to in Hindu texts, plays a significant role in the epic. Time is seen as an eternal force that governs the universe and the lives of all creatures. It is often personified as a deity or a representation of the cyclical nature of creation and destruction. Is this the kind of information you are looking for? If not, could you please provide more context or specify what exactly you would like to know about time in the Mahabharata?
Let me ask.
Sure, ask away. I'm here to assist you.
Hello, my name is Harish, and do you find any similarity between your rendition and my speaking?
Hello, Harish. As an artificial intelligence language model, I do not have a physical voice and do not speak in the same way as humans do. My responses are generated based on patterns and algorithms that have been trained on a large amount of text data. I try to provide information, answer questions, and engage in conversation in a way that is clear, concise, and respectful, but my communication style and tone may differ for humans. With that said, I'm here to assist you with any questions or concerns you have, so feel free to ask anything you're curious about.
Yes, my simple question is that, do you think my voice is similar to yours?
As an artificial intelligence language model, I do not have a physical voice or a physical body, so it is not possible for my voice to be similar to yours in any way. I communicate through text-based responses and do not have the ability to speak or produce sound.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, I was told that my voice is the parent of your voice. So I asked this question. But thank you. Wonderful speaking with you.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure speaking with you as well. If you have any more questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask.
So there are now apps which can deep
No, I'll
fake.
tell you what I'll tell you what the problem here was, because I have tried it myself. The problem is that that machine, whatever you call it, that infrastructure has American accent as a default. When it starts using Indian accent, which is very difficult, because what do you call an Indian accent? Somebody will say Bengali slant or a Gujarati slant or a South Indian. No, the machine will have to first learn what is an Indian accent. Indian accent is British vowel sounds with all consonants pronounced. That is Indian accent. So if it were that, then it would have been much closer to my natural voice.
But it is getting there, right? I mean, and
It is
voice
getting
is
there,
actually
definitely.
more easier because visuals, when you see something, there are a lot more nuances, but people don't have, the, let's say the tolerance to some of these variations. While you are a professional, you can figure some of these things out. An average person may not. So
Apart from that, it is unfortunate that voices of voiceover artists, the voices are disembodied voices. They have no name, they have no existence, and are supposed to be so. Whereas there are some who have a name. Fortunately or unfortunately, I am one of them. So if you're looking for Harish Bhimani's voice, Amin Sayani's voice, then you might be disappointed. But something that sounds similar, which is not, and you don't need Harish Bhimani's voice, then you're happy.
no, I think the question I'm really coming to is, if you look at music, and there is this entire debate on the industry about using tools like auto tune, and now with platforms like Suno, entire songs are generated with AI. Voices are generated through AI. So if AI is going to do so much of the generation, how much of the art or creativity is actually inside it?
I think live concerts will play a huge role. And I think where music is concerned, people are really interested in associating voice with the person, which is not going to happen. But yes, where only audio is concerned, it's really worrying.
There is also this whole challenge of how deep fake voices are used to fool people. There are so many scams happening. People are getting all kinds of calls. So there is also a massive potential of misuse. So is there any way for a normal listener, if we are listening to something, is there any tips for us to figure out if this is a artificial voice or a real voice?
When there is a little change in intonation which was not expected, like I found my answer was correct, and that was because of a certain intonation that was not expected. In AI, everything will be as expected. That's the only thing, but otherwise, no, you can't really.
So what does it mean to be truly human now? If AI is going to generate a voice, AI is going to generate your deep fake avatar, AI is going to generate scenes, where will human creativity go? What happens to artists? I mean, you were able to break into this because you had only human competition.
That's right.
Today, a voiceover artist will have infinite competition.
The real input will be in thinking, will be in creating. The creative part, not merely the rendition part. You're talking about deep fake. I know of a huge personality who has created his or her own deepfake and is actually doing its own audiobooks. And even if, 5% of people think that, no, this is not really him, I caught him, but how does it matter? You're at least getting a book written by him, also spoken by him. So nobody's complaining.
And do you think people will care whether this is AI or this is human?
That's what I'm saying.
People don't care.
How does it matter?
No, but if, for example, there is this whole discussion that if there is a deep fake voice or video, you will have to give a disclaimer saying that, hey, you are about to listen to a fake voice.
Yes, I think that should be done. Let's say, an example, Amitabh Bachchan. As long as nothing is said that might shame him or is against his nature, it'll be accepted. But you can never guarantee. So that disclaimer would be very necessary. I had even suggested that for certain kinds of assignments, projects, you have the client write an affidavit that I will not use it for any other purpose, etc. It's very difficult to stop that person, but there will at least be some moral pressure. And I know that most clients will not want to do it. You distrust us, we don't want to work with you.
But that's exactly the whole challenge, right? So because a lot of people's voices were used to train this AI model, and now the question is that while voices were used to create these artificial intelligence models, they are not getting compensated. And a lot of, in fact, there are apps who are using celebrity and they have licensed officially some of these voices.
Yes.
So have you been approached by people
Yes,
to
at
license?
least 3. At least 3. The last one was a huge dollar prize. So I actually told myself that if I don't do, somebody will do it. I know. And at least I'm getting paid this amount. And it says that for perpetuity. It also left a little window open that if you give proper reasons, then you can take it back. But for that, you will have to go through legal process. So which means, no, it's gone for perpetuity. So most voice artists are thinking that मैं नहीं करूँगा तो कोई करेगा. I'm at least getting this. My voice is going to be replaced, or a voice is going to come for this project. So let it be mine.
No, but today, if your voice is used in, let's say, multiple renditions of a commercial, you get paid additionally in most of the cases. But if an AI voice is used, they have no obligation to pay you.
Sometimes they even, I've been told that they actually threaten. What do you mean you want to be paid for this, isn't this? We can use AI. Do what you want. Somebody has actually contracted me for 120 videos, 5-minute videos, very interesting subject. I have done only 30 and he suddenly stopped. I don't even know whether he is using, because he has my bare voice of 30 into 5 minutes. So
that's more than enough to claim anything.
Sometimes one sentence is enough. So I don't know what he's doing. I'm not straight away blaming him. But I will come to know probably after 2-3 years when I see it somewhere. And then he can say that I haven't done it. You can take the legal route.
See, there's a lot of talks about AI and regulation and government's role and laws around it. But you are somebody who is directly affected with it. Your entire life's legacy is voice. Your bread and butter is voice. Your entire industry is at a threat today. Real threat, especially voiceover replacing with AI. So if a regulator or government, or if anybody comes to you asking that what can they do, what can be done to protect or let's say rightfully compensate people like you, how does that work?
We are thinking, brainstorming. One suggestion is this: put moral pressure. But what can you do? When computers started, it sort of took away so many jobs. In an accounts department of, say, a middle order company, you needed about 4 to 5 employees full time at least. Now you need one person part time for the same job. But the jobs, the entire universe has grown. But I don't know how AI will grow the universe.
But I compare this more from, let's say, remember the time when horses were the main source of transportation. So when cars came, they said horsepower. That's how they defined the car's power. But they said, oh, this is still a horse. ये horsepower है. Jabki, it has nothing to do with a horse, but it was called the horsepower because that's how people understood it. So right now, even calling this deepfake voice, basically people are going to start forgetting what is the real human voice. Like today, I don't know the last time when I rode a horse or you did, but we still have cars with horsepower in it. So technically we are riding horses.
Chopra made a film on it. Naya Daur.
Yep.
Yes, it's very worrying as far as voice industry is concerned. The most worrying part, I tell them, is that I don't even know that I'm losing something.
Yeah.
In a regular competition, let's say there are 3 contenders, so I know that I didn't get this next time. किसी और. ये तो पता ही नहीं है कि कुछ मिलने वाला था. So no, it's very worrying. What would be your suggestion? What?
See, the good thing is that today a lot of this technology is coming from some of the top companies in the world. Leave certain fringe elements outside. And even these technologies are deployed on platforms like YouTube or Instagram. So at a platform level, if algorithms can detect if this is an AI voice, and then the minute you upload a voice which is AI, AI can fight AI and then say, hey, we see that you have used an AI voice. Is it an open source voice? Is it a licensed voice?
Now they're openly saying that you're going to record this for an AI model. So they're no more going to say that, oh, sorry, we use this. No, we are using this. We want this. So what will
I think that's the thing, right? Society needs to look at AI a lot more carefully. I think we are doing the same mistake what happened when social media came in, and we today know that while social media is great, it has caused so much challenges. Wars have happened, riots have happened, people have been lynched because of some fake news which is coming up. We have an opportunity, at least with AI, to get some of this in place because the genie is already out of the bottle.
Yes, but we seem to be worrying only about one tiny industry like voice industry.
Not just voice. I'm saying this is going to happen to video, movies, the entire, why do you need actors? The entire AI generated models will do acting. There's no need to do shooting.
So those who are not in this industry, they'll say that we don't care whether it's a real or...
No, but it's going to affect everyone, right? Whether it is the creative industry, advertising industry, like what is going to be the role of a copywriter today, at least at a junior level? Why would you use you will...
It's already affecting, sure. You can write a sentence and rephrase it in 3 different ways in 5 seconds.
Yep. So did you expect it to happen so fast? I know these were all thoughts, but
no,
we always...
I think it's happening slowly. And the reason is terrorism. You see, terrorism really started from 79-80. Partially thanks to an American president who gave in to certain threat, etc. So how much time and resources, energy have been wasted to counter terrorism. If that were not there, all this would have been put to creative use, positive use.
Yeah.
So it should have been faster, according to me.
No, you also were involved in a number of spiritual, religious texts being narrated, whether on audio or on video. And, when you narrate as a human, you talk about the Bhagavad Gita or the Quran or the Bible, people listen to it with devotion. Basically these texts, or, people, Mahabharat, people used to put agarbatti in front of the Ramayana and Mahabharat in front of television to watch it, because for them, this is divine. But when these things are rendered with deep fake audio or created using artificial intelligence, do you think it has the same meaning or the same spiritual experience for the listener?
No, I don't think so, at least not in a hurry. Because the AI, artificial, not actual, the AI will not have that X factor.
Everybody believes that this is the version 1 of the technology. As this evolves, version 2, version 3, version 5, this is going to get better. And these versions are coming up in months, not years. I mean, when I say version 5, that can happen in 5 months.
But that, how will you get that X factor? Because X factor is very individual. Whether I speak or you speak with the same devotion, with the same involvement, that something that touches the listeners or viewers will change. And how will AI bring that? Maybe later it will. जैसा मेरा स्वभाव है वैसे मेरे AI का होगा या किसी AI का होगा.
I think that's really the difference, right? इस धरती में 8 बिलियन मनुष्य हैं हम लोग. हर एक का स्वभाव अलग है. AI वैसा नहीं है. AI एक है. It can mimic the स्वभाव, but it can't have its own personality. So is that what is the difference?
This is where I think that it is going to have its own nature, its own swabhav. Because where do you get your swabhav from?
But स्वभाव आने के लिए आपके पास भाव होना चाहिए, राइट? जब भाव ही नहीं है, तो स्वभाव कहाँ से आएगा?
नहीं, वो भाव कहाँ से आएगा? कहाँ से आता है? हमारे एनवायरनमेंट से, हमारी हिस्ट्री से, हमारे आसपास कौन है, हमने क्या सीखा है, जिसको एक शब्द में संस्कार कहते हैं. What have you imbibed? तरबियत कहते हैं, तालीम व तरबियत. तो if that can be mimicked, and probably it can.
And I think that's the problem, right? See, as humans, you have a difference of, moral compass and your own upbringing. I have a different one. But AI has a language model, सबके पास billions of, so उन सबके पास same knowledge है. तो उसको बोलते हैं ट्रेन करना पड़ता है एक स्वभाव बनाने के लिए. हम सब लोग हमारी पैदाइश से we are getting developed into people who we are. Somebody becomes a Lata Mangeshkar, somebody becomes a Zakir Hussain, and somebody is just a normal person. But जो AI है, उसी के अंदर सब लोग अंदर ही हैं, उसी के सारे स्वभाव एक ही के अंदर है. इसके लिए उससे जो एक स्वभाव निकालना है वो इतना आसान नहीं है. I think that's what everybody is struggling right now.
Individuality.
Yeah, I think so. The most amazing thing about humans is that we are individual. And the same thing which is not good about AI is that it has the collective wisdom of everything in one.
So do you think it will happen?
That's the question, right? AGI, हम लोग सब बोल रहे हैं, artificial general intelligence. Will it have so much intelligence that it can absolutely become that individual? Currently, when we try to listen to the voice, we are trying to compare it to the voice of you, which is one in the world, versus this thing which is, which can be replicated a billion times. So what is it that is uniquely human itself is the question, right? So individuality is unique.
And that it is not constant. As I said,
Yeah,
that
it can change.
it can change.
सुबह की रिकॉर्डिंग अलग है, रात की रिकॉर्डिंग अलग है, दोपहर की रिकॉर्डिंग अलग है.
अगर मैं दूसरा टेक भी देता हूँ तो वो भी अलग है. मैंने इनके साथ बात की थी. What is it called?
11 Labs, all these companies. 11 Labs
on my
Character.ai,
mobile,
Suno,
ChatGPT.
Chat
There's
GPT.
one you can talk to, and it talks like a human. And I said that you're talking too fast for my taste. And it took a long time for her to become slower. And I said that I don't think you're comfortable being slow. You're doing it just for my sake.
Yeah.
So she said, yes, it is very difficult. So it is not easy for that person to change. But you tell me that, Harish, come on, be louder. What is this? So I'll be louder. So that change, Fojo, as you said, bhav, swabhav, at this point, it's not there.
It's not there. So, you have read and learned so much about the religious texts, and especially Bhagavad Gita talks about the world is Maya. So we are already in a simulation. The fact that you and I are talking and thinking, we don't even know if this is artificial intelligence of some other kind. We are all part of a large language model in a way. And within the Maya, we are trying to create another Maya. So हम लोग already Maya में हैं और हम Maya के अंदर हमने artificial intelligence बना दिया. So tell me, has any of the scriptures in any religion or any kind of thought process talked about something like this?
Talked about
Maya के अंदर Maya.
नहीं, गीता इतना माया पे नहीं. There are other scriptures or other mahakavyas, epics they talk about. Gita is more about the art of living.
No, what I meant was that in general we are talking about the world is Maya. And we are all, we are all just mere actors in this world.
It seems a little like our mythology.
Yeah.
Mythology, when you hear or read or see, say that, what is this? I mean, it's not possible. Why talk about it? Why imbibe this? Why teach this? But look at AI. So yes, it is Maya within Maya. And it's created by real people.
Yeah. So we have a very interesting part of the show where we ask you to codify something and kind of create your own code. And in your case, I was thinking that what could be the, your common thread has been storytelling, whether it was narrating time as time or, when you talked about all the other work you have done or how you talk.
Basically, it is storytelling.
So in this world of AI, what should be the storyteller's code? What should if I want to tell stories with my voice or if any voice, how can what would be the code to decode it? As a storyteller, what should I be doing in this world if I have to tell stories?
You simply be the story. You first read it, believe in it, imbibe it, and then express it. I've seen that particularly in our social media, a wonderful YouTube, that it's not necessary to be articulate or stylish or sound great, as long as you are completely you. And as you said, we are 8 billion different individuals.
So you're saying be unique. That is the only way you can stand out.
As unique as yourself. मैं ये हूँ.
Tell me something, if you were born in this generation and you had the same thought, you went to college and you felt that you're not fitting in. Same thing, what happened in the 1960s. If it was happening today, what would you do?
I would have just followed my instinct. Where I was born, almost where I grew up, it was surrounded by film studios. And not that I'd seen too many films, but somehow, some force attracted me to film making. When I went to see those shootings, Modern Studio, Mohan Studio, Prakash Studio, Natraj, I was not interested in the stars. I was interested in lighting. I was interested in mic placement. I was interested in trolley, camera lens, such things. So I think I would have much early in my life gravitated to that. Here, I actually gravitated to it. My first assignment was screenplay writing and direction. But then soon realized that I have entered a bit too late in my life. And I have a major alternative, which is also what I'm passionate about, the voice and storytelling, rendering, narration.
So that gets me to the next part. So we again have a very interesting ritual that the previous guest asks a question to you without knowing who you are. And you also will be, by the way, at the end of the show, ask a question to the next guest without knowing who it is. But the question which came for you unknowingly, clearly he had no idea it is you, came from Sanket, who is the CEO of InVideo. And his question is very, very appropriate for you, that if you can explain what are the attributes of your craft and simulate what goes through your mind step by step. If somebody tells you, Harishji, here is a script which you have to narrate. Explain the attributes and then how do you process it and how do you think and how do you then speak? What is that?
First of all, I think I shouldn't try to analyze in such details. And number two, if somebody does, if I did, you shouldn't listen to it. Because that detailed analysis of such a creative process will ruin it, will ruin your rendering.
No, normally you will not tell it to people. I mean, this is just for our understanding. I mean, of course, the idea is not.
No, it's like it's very dangerous. It's like trying to observe yourself when you're falling asleep. How is it happening? Try sometime. Do you know, in most of my recordings, I read the script for the first time when I'm on the mic live. Because the first time I read anything, I'm most interested in it. So it is most spontaneous. The only little humble request I have is that please let there not be any grammatical error, even spelling error or syntax error. And my rendition is the best.
So your answer is that your process is spontaneous. You like to go. Your best work comes when you go. You get a text which is completely correct, no grammar, spelling mistakes, and you do it in the first take. That is, in a way.
You see, what happens is that second, third, fourth take, I'm trying my artificiality to masquerade as spontaneity.
So first generation, right? So the first generation is the best in that sense.
Definitely,
and then you.
Definitely.
Yes. And what question would you like to ask to whoever the next guest is?
Well, I'll at least tell him that it's wonderful speaking with Vishal, because he doesn't just speak, he draws out things from you and lets you be yourself.
So what question would you ask? Let's say it's a young person, okay? I can give you a little hint. Young person, very young.
Even younger than me.
Yeah, very, very young.
What is the difference between your next year's plan and your plan 10 years hence?
Yeah, that's a great question to ask. Not just a young person, but anyone today. Yeah. Anyone.
No, particularly a young person.
Particularly a young person. Harishji, your voice has been a guiding light for generations. And today's conversation has been no exception. I think thanks for sharing your insights. I think what you have talked about AI and what does it mean to be human, and your thought process and your dedication to your work and how you look at it as ibadat or seva in a way. And again, thanks a lot for coming in, and thanks everybody for tuning into the Awakening Code. Until next time, let's continue to awaken our full potential together.
And I will keep meditating because my work is my meditation.
Thank you.